The waitress speaks Arabic to the Arabian millionaire, and what she reveals is shocking. Emma moved through the sleek downtown cafe like a whisper. Fast, sharp, impossible to ignore. The place buzzed with power suits and expensive watches, a playground for the city's wealthiest. But Emma? She never looked the part. Just a waitress, some might say. Yet there was something in her eyes, clever, guarded, that made the air crack with quiet intensity whenever she passed a table. Then he walked in. Adam Khalil. The name echoed silently through the cafe's polished marble floors. A billionaire with a reputation so ruthless it sent a chill through every boardroom. They said he built his empire on silence and shadows, cutting deals while no one looked. His gaze was cold, a predator stare, barely masking the storm underneath. Emma caught his eye as he slid into the corner booth, his presence sucking the warmth from the room. Without missing a beat, she tilted her head with a casual smile and said, "Assalamu alaikum." Every head turned. The billionaire blinked, shock mixed with sharp surprise cracking across his face. Arabic, perfect, clear, unmistakable. Here, now, from the waitress. The crowd held its breath. The air went thick with whispers. Who was she? Their eyes locked, electric, dangerous. "You speak Arabic." Adam's voice was low, wary, almost a growl. Emma leaned in, voice cooled the fierce. "More than you think." His jaw tightened. A flicker of something unreadable flashed. Fear, recognition, maybe betrayal. The sleek cafe felt suddenly small and suffocating. "You shouldn't know that language," he said, voice dropping like a thunderclap. She shrugged, but her eyes betrayed. "A storm. I know plenty you don't." The moment stretched, taut with danger. Emma's heart pounded in her chest like a warning drum. Her hands trembled ever so slightly, betraying her calm. But she held her ground. Then she dropped a hint, slow, deliberate, about a secret hidden deep in Adam's family legacy. Something dark and buried, powerful enough to shatter the empire he fought so hard to build. Adam's face went pale. His eyes darted, searching hers for a lie, but found only cold steel and pain. "Who sent you?" he whispered, suspicion biting every word. Emma's throat tightened. There was another truth, a mission she carried like a blade hidden beneath her smile. The truth that could destroy everything, or change it all. The cafe around them fell silent. Curious eyes, hushed murmurs, and sharp breaths filled the air. No one moved. They watched the dangerous dance unfold, trust tangled with deceit, desperation wrapped in silence. Adam leaned closer. The tension was unbearable. Finally she spoke, voice sharp as broken glass. "The truth is closer than you think, and it's coming for you." His hands clenched the table, white-knuckled. Sweat beaded at his temple. Emma's secret pressed heavier on her chest, aching like a wound threatening to burst. Outside, the city roared on, blind to the reckoning brewing inside. But inside that cafe, two worlds collided, fast, furious, and merciless. What would happen next? Could trust survive the cold cuts of betrayal? And what in God's name was Emma really hiding? The answers? Hanging in the balance, waiting for the next move, where every word could be the last. "Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming up. And since you're here, smash that like button because it really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact." Emma's words hung in the air, charged with electricity. The cafe was a tightly wound spring, ready to snap. Adam's expression was unreadable, a mask barely holding back the storm inside. Then, just as the tension peaked, a loud crash shattered the moment. A group of men burst through the door, all sharp suits and angry shouts. They pushed tables aside, eyes scanning the crowd like wolves searching for prey. Murmurs rippled through the cafe. Emma felt the hair on her neck stand up. What was happening? Adam, we need to go. One of the men barked, dragging Adam's attention away from her. The urgency in his voice was a cold slap. Emma's heart raced. This was no ordinary interruption. It felt like an invasion. What are you doing here? Adam snapped, his icy demeanor replaced by a flicker of fear. The men shouted something about time running out. They didn't care about the whispers around them. They were there for Adam, and their eyes were full of menace. Emma, Adam started, looking back at her, but the moment shattered when one of the men pointed straight at her. Get her. The order cut through the air like a knife. Emma's breath hitched as dread clawed at her. She had been a ghost, hovering in the shadows. But now she was thrust into the spotlight. Wait, no, she... Adam shouted, but the men lunged, grabbing her wrists in iron grips. She struggled, panic flooding over her. The cafe patrons gasped, faces pale with shock. Let go of her, Adam's voice boomed, but the men weren't listening. They were pulling her towards the door, dragging her from the sanctuary of the cafe. Stop, Emma cried, twisting free for just a moment, meeting Adam's frantic gaze. I didn't say, but before she could finish, a loud bang echoed through the cafe. A gunshot. The crowd erupted into chaos. People screamed, diving for cover, tables flipping over in a frenzy. Emma's heart raced, both from fear and the sudden violent shift in her reality. Adam vanished from her view in a blur of motion. She could only hear his voice, raised and fierce, mixing with the cacophony. Everything blurred around her. 1 second she was just the waitress. Now she was caught in a storm of danger. Then, in that chaos, she felt a jolt. A rough hand grasped her arm, and she was spun to face Adam again. He was uncovering a truth hidden behind layers of fear. Emma, you're more involved than I thought, he said, urgency vibrating in his voice. You have to trust me. Behind him, the men regrouped, ominous and ready to strike. He pushed Emma into a corner. You need to tell me what you know, now. Before she could respond, the lead man called out, voice dripping with menace. You think you can keep her? She's got something that belongs to us. The bombshell landed like a thunderclap. Emma's mind raced. Something? What did she have? A piece of history? A secret? Her heart pounded, confusion coiling into a tight fist. All eyes were on her now. Adam's fierce eyes, filled with a blend of desperation and trust. The world around them paused for a heartbeat. Emma, what do they want? He pressed, but she could barely form words through the chaos. The cafe was spiraling into a nightmare, with whispers and shouts swirling like a tempest. And all the while, the question loomed, what did she know that could shatter everything? The reality of the moment hit hard. Her identity, her hidden past, it all sat on the edge of revelation. A jagged truth waiting to explode. Could she reveal it? Would it crack Adam open, laying bare everything she had tried to shield? In that daunting silence, Emma realized something monumental was about to shift. The stakes had blasted through the roof. The chaos outside faded into a dull roar. She stood at the precipice, teetering on the brink of revelations that could twist their destinies. There was no going back, only forward. What did she have that could change the game? The storm was just beginning, and she had to decide how to wield the power that lay within her. Would she unleash it, or keep it buried? The room held its breath, waiting for the consequence of her next words. Emma's heart racing, she faced Adam. The chaos of the cafe faded to the background, their world narrowing to the moment shared between them. I can't explain now, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. The confrontation with the men loomed like a dark cloud. She needed to break the silence. There was something she had to say, something that could tip the balance. But before she could find the words, an explosion rocked the cafe. Glass shattered. A blinding flash burst through the doorway, followed by a deafening roar. The men outside had set off a smoke bomb, and choking clouds swirled into the room. Panic erupted. People screamed, scattering like leaves in a storm, seeking cover. Get down, Adam yelled, pulling Emma toward the ground as chaos reigned. In that moment, everything unraveled. Coughing and gasping, People stumbled, their faces painted with fear. Bodies collided. The once polished cafe now looked like a battlefield. Through the thickening haze, Emma caught a glimpse of Adam. His usually cold eyes were alive with determination. Whatever was happening, he wouldn't let her get dragged away. He had to protect her. But then, something unexpected caught her attention. A flash of shiny metal in his waistband. A gun. Her breath hitched. How deep was he really in all this? Was he part of that world? Confusion twisted in her gut, fighting against the fear. Before she could process it, Adam had tightened his grip on her. "I need you to trust me," he said fiercely, urgency marking every syllable. "We have to move." But as he pulled her closer, she noticed the men regrouping outside. They were looking right at Adam. "You've crossed the line, Khalil. You think you can walk away with her?" one shouted. Rage etched across his face. Emma felt a chill run down her spine. This was personal. This was about more than just money. A second later, a shot rang out. Adam pushed Emma behind him protectively. She felt his body tense, the muscles in his back coiling like a spring ready to burst. Emma's heart raced. She had never seen this side of him. Dangerous, determined. Something shifted in her. A deep-rooted instinct told her this was more than just a moment. Then, a twist. Another figure appeared from the side, rushing through the smoke with shocking speed. A woman, dressed in black, her face partly hidden. Emma's stomach dropped. It was not just any woman. It was his sister, Layla, the hidden face of the family fortune. She looked fierce, deadly. "Adam," Layla shouted, her voice cutting through the panic. "We need to get out of here, now." And just like that, everything shifted. Emma's mind raced. Layla? Adam's sister was here? The stories she had heard, the whispers in boardrooms, were they real? Was there more to the Khalil family than she had known? Secrets wrapped in darkness, bubbling to the surface like the chaos around them. "Layla, what are you doing?" Adam shot back, his tone sharp. "What I have to do. You're not safe." Layla's eyes widened, darting between them. "Emma, you're in danger too. There are things you don't know." Emma's mind spun. All this time she thought she had the secret, but it was Layla who held the key, a hidden truth that could break open everything. She took a step forward, fear and anger intertwining. "What do you mean I'm in danger? What do I not know?" But before Layla could answer, more men burst in, pushing through the smoke, aiming directly at them. Emma's heart stopped, her thoughts raced. There was no safe way out now. This was a trap. The storm had trapped them all. "Now!" Adam roared, grabbing Emma's wrist. But Layla stood frozen, her face pale. "Wait!" Layla shouted. "You can't protect her like this, not with what she carries." Time froze. Emma's breath caught. What did that even mean? What was she carrying? A secret that could change everything? Adam's fierce grip didn't ease as he looked between them, confusion and tension coiling tight. "What?" he snapped, eyes darting to Emma. "What does that mean?" But before either of them could process it further, another shot fired, ringing eerily through the cafe. The air thickened with terror. The walls of safety crumbled. And in that last moment, a shocking sense of clarity hit Emma hard. Whatever secret she held now threatened to break wide open. Relationships shattered, truths unveiled, destinies torn apart. Would she step into that light, face the music, and embrace the truth? The questions hung heavy in the air, vibrating with the promise of chaos about to explode. Emma stood frozen, the chaos swirling around her like a whirlwind, her heart racing. She felt Adam's grip tighten, his urgency radiating off him like heat from a fire. But it was Layla's words that echoed in her mind, amplifying the terror crushing down on them. "What do you mean I'm in danger? What do I not know?" she demanded, fear spiking her voice. Before Layla could answer, the front of the cafe exploded in shouts. The men surged forward, forcing their way into the chaos. Emma's fingers traced the worn edges of the nearest table, her mind racing. This was all wrong. Everything she thought she knew, everything that had brought her here, felt like it was slipping away. "Emma!" Layla shouted, urgency marking her face. "Listen." But there was no time. A sound like thunder roared above them, drowning out the screams. An explosion erupted just outside the cafe, sending a ripple of panic through the crowd. The floor shook, and the air filled with the sharp smell of smoke and burning rubber. "You have to trust me," Adam shouted over the tumult. His body blocked the chaos, casting a protective shadow over her. But in that moment, something flickered in his eyes, something she couldn't quite place. Layla moved closer, panic spilling from her voice. "You don't understand. The truth." Then everything changed. A blinding flash of light cut through the smoke, exploding from the door. Emma shielded her eyes, trying to see through the chaos. In the afterglow, a figure emerged, stepping into the cafe like a ghost from the shadows. Those men traveling chaos, they parted for him like a dark sea. Her heart stopped. It was a man she recognized, a face she'd seen in the newspapers and in whispered conversations. Khalid al-Mansour, an infamous criminal, a name that conjured images of power and fear. "Adam," Khalid's voice boomed, carrying icy authority. "You've meddled in things you don't understand." The room fell silent. Every eye turned toward the gleaming figure. Emma's stomach dropped. This wasn't just an ordinary confrontation. This was something monumental. "Khalid," Adam growled, but there was no bravado behind it. Just a deep-seated fear. "Let her go, Khalil," Khalid spat, eyes narrowing like slits. His focus shifted to Emma, and his expression twisted, a mix of curiosity and menace. "Who is she?" he demanded, each word cutting through the tension like a blade. Emma felt a chill race down her spine. Suddenly, she wasn't just a waitress anymore. She was at the center of something massive, something that felt bigger than her world, entwining their fates in ways she couldn't grasp. "Nothing to do with you," Adam snapped, taking a step forward. But it was too late. The mask was slipping. Khalid laughed, a dark, rich sound that sent waves of dread up her spine. "But she does. She doesn't even know yet." A sharp gasp echoed through the cafe. Whispered allegations fanned out like wildfire among the patrons, fear paralyzing everyone. Emma's pulse hammered in her ears, drowning out the chaos. "What?" Emma managed to say, voice trembling. "What do you mean?" Khalid's grin widened, revealing a glimmer of something sinister. "You carry the weight of a legacy you can't even begin to comprehend." Adam surged forward, anger igniting in his features. "Stop it," his voice cut through the crowd. But it felt like a desperate attempt to hold back a flood. "No, let it unfold," Khalid taunted, stepping closer. "Let her hear the truth." As the weight of his words settled, Emma's heart threatened to stop. Fear, confusion, and a dawning realization all battled within her. Who was she really? What could shatter everything she thought she knew? The cafe felt like it was spinning, everyone frozen in a moment that would change their lives. She had to know. "What are you talking about?" Khalid's eyes flickered with a blend of admiration and something darker. "You're far more than a waitress, Emma. You're tied into a lineage that stretches back generations. You don't realize your role in this, do you?" Before she could respond, something inside her broke. The truth was a twisted knot, pulling tighter. Her memories, fragments from her life, hints of every conversation, suddenly felt like they were leading her somewhere she hadn't expected. Khalid leaned closer, their futures intertwined like the vines of a relentless plant. "You could change everything," he murmured, the breath of chaos lingering between them. Emma's eyes flickered between Adam and Khalid, confusion spiraling. What was she, really? The storm was brewing, and all she could feel was the undeniable pull of darkness closing in. "Emma," Adam's voice was low, serious, full of unspoken fear. "You need to choose before it's too late." And with that, her world hung in the balance, every heartbeat echoing like a ticking clock. What was she willing to uncover? Who could she trust? The answers loomed just out of reach, waiting to unravel everything. Emma stood there, the weight of Khalid's words pressing down on her like a heavy cloak. Adam's eyes darted between her and Khalid, confusion etched on his face. "What do you mean, tied to a lineage?" he shot back, anger flaring. His voice was steady, but Emma felt the tremor beneath. Khalid leaned in, eyes alight with something darker. This isn't just a matter of money or power, Khalil. This is about heritage, bloodlines. You have no idea what she represents. Emma's heart hammered in her chest. What are you talking about? I'm just a waitress. The words felt like a lie on her tongue, an inadequate shield against the storm brewing around her. Khalid tilted his head, a predatory smile creeping across his face. But Emma, you're much more than that. You're the keeper of a key that unlocks every door in this city. The air crackled with tension, and she felt every breath in the silence, each heartbeat pounding in her ears like a drum. What key? What door? She asked, fear blooming inside her. Before Khalid could respond, a loud crash rang out from behind them. The cafe's front door flew open, sending shards of glass cascading to the floor. Another figure entered, a woman, wild-eyed and frantic, her clothes torn, breath coming in ragged gasps. "Get out!" "They're coming!" she shouted, her voice slicing through the chaos. Emma squinted through the swirling smoke, trying to make sense of what was happening. "Who are you?" But the woman didn't answer. She barreled toward them, colliding with Adam. "Adam, we need to move now. They're tracking you." Panic vibrated in her voice. The identity of this newcomer twisted something in Emma's gut. She recognized her now. Lila, Adam's former fiancée, gone from his life but now thrust back into the midst of chaos. "Do you not see what's at stake?" Lila said, desperation clinging to every word as she turned to Khalid. "How can you even be here? You shouldn't be involved in this." "Because I have to be," Khalid replied, his tone sharp. "This is bigger than any of us. There's a power shift happening, and you two are caught in the middle." Emma's head spun. She felt like she was drowning in secrets, each person around her pulling her deeper. But then, in a flash, Lila turned to Emma, her eyes widening in recognition. "Wait," she stammered. You're not just a waitress." A shiver traveled down Emma's spine. "What do you mean?" There was something in Lila's gaze that felt like a dagger aimed straight at her heart. Then Lila's jaw dropped, and her eyes flickered to Adam. "No, it can't be." What can't be?" Adam demanded, stepping closer, confusion morphing into anger. "It can't be true," Lila cried, pulling Emma into the light. "You're his sister." Silence enveloped the cafe, suffocating and thick. Emma staggered back, the weight of Lila's words crashing into her like a wave. "What?" Her breath hitched. "That's impossible. But Khaled cut in, voice all smooth edges. "It makes sense. Your mother was tied to the Khalil family. You were hidden away, expunged from records, to protect an ancient truth." Her mind whirled. Her life, her identity, felt like sand slipping through her fingers. "No, this can't be. My mother, she—" But Khalid interjected, his gaze fierce. "Your mother couldn't risk it. She hid you, and they've been searching for you ever since. They'll do anything to keep the legacy under control, yours included." The menace hung in his voice, a warning laced with sincerity. Emma's world turned upside down. Suddenly, the cafe, the chaos, everything around her faded. She had never been just Emma, the waitress. There were secrets, connections weaving through her life like threads in a tapestry. The sound of sirens wailed closer, shaking her from her reverie, like a splash of icy water. "Emma," Adam's voice snapped her back. "We need to figure this out now. You have to trust me, but time's running out." Outside, sirens screamed, eyes darted. The air coiled with danger. Everything was at stake, and in that moment of frantic clarity, Emma realized her next choice would change everything about who she thought she was. Would she step into her own power, embrace the truth, or run from the life waiting just beyond the door? "Emma," Khalid called, his voice cutting through the cacophony. "Make your choice. Trust holds the key, and the clock is ticking." Every eye turned to her once again. Emma felt the weight of their gazes like heat, like pressure. What am I truly willing to unleash? The question hung in the air, heavy and pregnant with the promise of chaos, the answer waiting just beneath the surface. Everything was about to change, and the truth was the only path forward. Emma could feel the weight of every pair of eyes on her. The silence, pressing tight against her chest. Adam's gaze burned with urgency, but Khaled's words pierced deeper. What legacy? What truth? Her identity tangled with everything spiraling around them. She stole glances at Layla and Leela, desperate for answers, but the fear clouding the room made everything feel so fragile. "Emma!" Adam shouted, shaking her from her thoughts. "What do you want to do?" The blaring sirens outside jolted her back to reality. The urgency was rising, constricting like a noose as another wave of panic rippled through the crowd. Every second mattered. I don't know," she stammered, feeling trapped between three worlds: her past, the storm of danger outside, and the chaos brewing between these three powerful figures. The anxiety bloomed, knotting in her stomach. Before anyone could respond, the cafe door flew open again, forcefully. This time, a man, tall, menacing, with scars tracing his face like a map, stormed in, pushing through the remnants of smoke. The cafe patrons gasped, instinctively recoiling from the menace he radiated. "Where is she?" he bellowed, scanning the room like a beast sniffing for the scent of prey. "Where's Emma Dawson?" Her heart dropped like a stone. How did he know her name? An icy wave of fear washed over her, freezing her in place. Who are you?" she managed to whisper, but her voice felt small against the tide of chaos. Khaled's stillness morphed into something darker. His expression solidified, and Emma quickly noticed how he edged away from the man. Recognition flashed in his eyes, a fear she hadn't seen before, strength fading in front of a looming threat. The stranger's gaze honed in on Emma. "I'm here to get you, Emma. We've got to move." "No, stay away from her," Adam roared, positioning himself defensively in front of her, eyes blazing with fury. But fear gripped his voice, threading through his protective stance. Layla stepped forward, confusion writ large on her face. "What are you talking about?" "Enough. Don't you get it? They know where she is." The man swung an arm, pointing straight at Emma. "We don't have time for games." The tension ballooned, all around them. Voices rose, murmurs of alarm and confusion blending into a chaotic symphony. Emma felt herself trembling. Words caught in her throat as the walls of the cafe closed in, shadows stretching, twisting with impending doom. "I don't understand," Emma shouted over the noise, desperation tearing through her. "What's happening?" Just as the man opened his mouth to respond, another explosion rattled the cafe. This time the back door blew open. The force sent a spray of wood splintering toward them like sharp rain. Screams erupted as people scrambled for cover, the air thick with smoke and terror. In the flash of chaos, Emma saw Khaled's expression shift again, disbelief marking his features. "No, it can't be," he murmured, his resolve cracking. Everything felt surreal, the uncertainty tight in her chest, the overwhelming danger lurking in every corner. The urgent cries grew louder, the reality of the situation tightening the grip around her throat. "Emma!" Adam shouted, pulling her back, and she felt his body shaking against hers. "We have to go, now." And then, in that moment of madness, the man lunged toward her. He grabbed her wrist, slicing through the confusion like a knife, his grip ironclad. "Come with me." A part of her instinct wanted to run, to escape, but something deeper, something buried in her history, made her freeze, caught between two lives. Just as she made a decision, as she drew in a shaky breath, to fight or flee, a deafening blast rocked the building. The windows shattered, sending shards spiraling through the air. Emma's vision exploded, with bright light and chaos. When the blinding burst faded, she blinked, disoriented. What she saw next turned her world on its head. Slumped against the far wall, covered in dust and debris, was her mother, a woman she thought she'd never see again. "Mom?" Emma's voice broke as the truth spilled over her, unraveling everything she thought she knew. "What are you doing here?" "But—" Her mother's eyes met Emma with a wild stare, filled with pain, anger, and a desperate plea that shouted louder than the words she couldn't vocalize. Every instinct urged Emma to reach out, to understand. But then, in the midst of the chaos, she noticed her mother clutching a familiar object tightly, an ornate box that shimmered ominously amid the wreckage. The same box that disappeared from her life long ago. The air felt electric, crackling with shock and uncertainty. The revelation sent tremors of betrayal through the sealed walls of her heart. "Emma!" Adam shouted again, urgency lacing his voice as sirens echoed closer, closing in with relentless hunger. "What are you going to do?" But Emma remained rooted, heart racing, mind spinning. She had to decide, what did it all mean? What was she willing to fight for? And could she trust the people standing beside her, or running against her? In that tumult of confusion, every life-altering choice lay open like a chasm at her feet. The truth was a beast, waiting to be tamed. But could she uncover it before everything she loved slips away into the abyss? The room held its breath, suspended in time, waiting for Emma to unleash the storm brewing within her. Would she step forward into the truth, or would she flee into the shadows? Emma could feel the weight of every pair of eyes on her, the silence pressing tight against her chest. Adam's gaze burned with urgency, but Khalid's words pierced deeper. What legacy? What truth? Her identity, tangled with everything spiraling around them. She stole glances at Layla and Leela, desperate for answers, but the fear clouding the room made everything feel so fragile. "Emma," Adam shouted, shaking her from her thoughts. "What do you want to do?" The blaring sirens outside jolted her back to reality. The urgency was rising, constricting like a noose as another wave of panic rippled through the crowd. Every second mattered. I don't know," she stammered, feeling trapped between three worlds. Her past, the storm of danger outside, and the chaos brewing between these three powerful figures. The anxiety bloomed, knotting in her stomach. Before anyone could respond, the cafe door flew open again, forcefully this time. A man, tall, menacing, with scars tracing his face like a map, stormed in, pushing through the remnants of smoke. The cafe patrons gasped, instinctively recoiling from the menace he radiated. "Where is she?" he bellowed, scanning the room like a beast sniffing for the scent of prey. "Where's Emma Dawson?" Her heart dropped like a stone. How did he know her name? An icy wave of fear washed over her, freezing her in place. Who are you?" she managed to whisper, but her voice felt small against the tide of chaos. Khalid's stillness morphed into something darker. His expression solidified, and Emma quickly noticed how he edged away from the man. Recognition flashed in his eyes. A fear she hadn't seen before, strength fading in front of a looming threat. The stranger's gaze honed in on Emma. "I'm here to get you, Emma. We've got to move." "No, stay away from her," Adam roared, positioning himself defensively in front of her, eyes blazing with fury. But fear gripped his voice, threatening. Through his protective stance, Layla stepped forward, confusion writ large on her face. "What are you talking about?" "Enough! Don't you get it? They know where she is." The man swung an arm, pointing straight at Emma. "We don't have time for games." The tension ballooned. All around them, voices rose, murmurs of alarm and confusion blending into a chaotic symphony. Emma felt herself trembling. Words caught in her throat as the walls of the cafe closed in, shadows stretching, twisting with impending doom. "I don't understand," Emma shouted over the noise, desperation tearing through her. "What's happening?" Just as the man opened his mouth to respond, another explosion rattled the cafe. This time, the back door blew open. The force sent a spray of wood splintering toward them like sharp rain. Screams erupted as people scrambled for cover, the air thick with smoke and terror. In the flash of chaos, Emma saw Khalid's expression shift again, disbelief marking his features. "No, it can't be," he murmured, his resolve cracking. Everything felt surreal. The uncertainty tightened her chest, the overwhelming danger lurking in every corner. The urgent cries grew louder, the reality of the situation tightening the grip around her throat. "Emma!" Adam shouted, pulling her back. Lives. Just as she made a decision, as she drew in a shaky breath to fight or flee, a deafening blast rocked the building. The window shattered, sending shards spiraling through the air. Emma's vision exploded with bright light and chaos. When the blinding burst faded, she blinked, disoriented. What she saw next turned her world on its head. Slumped against the far wall, covered in dust and debris, was her mother, a woman she thought she'd never see again. "Mom?" Emma's voice broke as the truth spilled over her, unraveling everything she thought she knew. "What are you doing here?" But her mother's eyes met Emma's with a wild stare, filled with pain, anger, and a desperate plea that shouted louder than words she couldn't vocalize. Every instinct urged Emma to reach out, to understand. But then, in the midst of the chaos, she noticed her mother clutching a familiar object tightly, an ornate box that shimmered ominously amid the wreckage. The same box that disappeared from her life long ago. The air felt electric, crackling with shock and uncertainty. The revelation sent tremors of betrayal through the sealed walls of her heart. "Emma!" Adam shouted again, urgency lacing his voice as sirens echoed closer, closing in with relentless hunger. "What are you going to do?" But Emma remained rooted, heart racing, mind spinning. She had to decide. What did it all mean? What was she willing to fight for? And could she trust the people standing beside her or running against her? In that tumult of confusion, every life-altering choice lay open like a chasm at her feet. The truth was a beast, waiting to be tamed. But could she uncover it before everything she loved slipped away into the abyss? Then, just as she took a step closer to her mother, an unexpected voice sliced through the chaos. "Emma, it's time." It was the man, his presence like a shadow looming over her. "You don't know who you are, but I do." "What?" Her words cracked, panic-laced with fear. Then he took off his hood, revealing a familiar face. Someone she had seen in childhood memories and family photos. Uncle Amir, her mother's brother, thought to be dead. "Uncle Amir?" Emma gasped, disbelief setting in. "But you disappeared." Amir's gaze shimmered with remorse, and something darker. "I didn't have a choice. They would have taken you if they knew." The room held its breath, and in that moment, everything twisted. Adam's expression morphed from determination to confusion as Khaled stepped back, not ready for this revelation. "You're the heir, Emma," Amir pressed, voice raw. "It's you they've been searching for all along. You carry their legacy, and I've protected you for years." Emma felt the ground shift beneath her feet. What were they fighting for? Who had been watching her? Everything she thought she knew fell apart as new revelations spun through her mind. The truth was a storm waiting to break. Would she embrace it, step forward into the tempest, or retreat, haunted by secrets begging to be uncovered? The choice was unfolding, but the answers dangled just beyond her reach, their power radiating like a heartbeat, echoing through her very soul. Emma stood there, breath hitching as her uncle's revelation settled, like a weight on her chest. "You are the heir, Emma," Amir pressed again, urgency spilling from every word. "They've been trying to find you for years. You carry a legacy." Before he could finish, Adam stepped forward, fists clenched tight. "I don't care about your legacy." His voice was sharp, slicing through the mounting tension. "I care about keeping her safe." "Safe from what?" Amir shot back, panic flashing in his eyes. "From the truth? From what she really is?" Emma felt dizzy. Everything had flipped. She glanced at Adam, whose gaze held both protectiveness and confusion. Here they were, standing at the edge of chaos, while her mother lay weakened on the ground, clutching the ornate box. The café trembled with dread. Their lives were spiraling into darkness, secrets entwining like vines around them. Emma needed answers, but now they felt suffocated by the very truths they desperately sought to uncover. "Enough," Khalid suddenly roared. His presence shifted the air. "Emma, you need to decide. Do you want to understand your past, or will you run away from it?" Before she could respond, the door screeched open once more. A new figure splashed into the chaos. A woman, her hair wild, and eyes wide with terror. "No, no, stop," she screamed, rushing in like a whirlwind. "They're coming!" Emma recognized her instantly. It was Sarah, her childhood friend, the one who vanished without a trace nearly a decade ago. "Sarah," Emma gasped, confusion washing over her. "What are you doing here, you?" But Sarah didn't stop. Her eyes flickered to Emma's mother, disbelief and fear swirling in her gaze. "You have to listen." She turned to Amir, wild-eyed.
You shouldn't have brought her here. You can't hide the truth, Amir.
"What truth?" Emma yelled, heart racing. "Just tell me." As Sarah stepped closer, her hands trembling, she said,
Emma, I don't have much time. It's not just you they're after.
"It's us, all of us.
Our families. We're part of something much bigger, something that's been twisted for generations. Thick, like the world itself, held its breath. Emma's heart raced, the weight of Sarah's words staring her in the face. Layers of deception peeled back, revealing a core of darkness. I don't understand, Emma cried, desperation pinching her voice. What are you saying? Tension crackled like electricity around them, each moment a second on the clock. Suddenly, as if on cue, the
lights above flickered and died, plunging them into darkness. Gasps filled the air, a wave of panic igniting. Emma's heart raced. She could hear the distant sounds of chaos from outside, the hurried footsteps and frantic shouts, blending into a savage symphony. In that darkness, she felt the grip on her wrist tighten. Amir. "We need to move, now." But before anyone could react, a piercing scream erupted from the back of the café. "Get down!" The blast of a gunshot ripped through the silence. Time warped. Everything felt surreal. A cruel twist of fate. They hadn't managed to escape this world of shadows after all. As the smoke filled the room, Emma's eyes went wide. In that chaos, she caught sight of her mother, eyes suddenly focused, the ornate box slipping from her grasp. It landed with a soft thud, and as it hit the floor, something inside cracked open. A blinding light erupted, radiating outward like the dawn breaking through the darkest night. The revelation struck them all like a tidal wave. Emma could hardly breathe, everything shifting. In that instant, her mother's voice lilted through the chaos. "Emma, you must know." But just then, everything changed. The blinding light glowed brightly, revealing something she could never have anticipated. A family crest, shining like a beacon, appeared above the box, as if awakening from a long slumber. "No," Khalid shouted. "It can't be." Emma's mind spiraled. The emblem was one she had seen before, etched into the pages of her forgotten past. The truth crashed over her, as shocking as the gunshot. The real legacy wasn't a mere inheritance. It was a dark covenant forged in blood and betrayal, binding her to forces she could barely comprehend. Then everything erupted again, a rush of bodies, sounds, and a scream swallowed by the rising chaos. As everything fell into turmoil, Emma stood there, heart racing with a new fear gripping her throat. What now? What had she just unlocked, and what did it mean for everyone she loved? With the darkness closing in, she realized she couldn't turn back. Not now. The real battle was just beginning. Emma stood frozen, the blinding light bursting from the box, illuminating her mother's panicked eyes as the crowd gasped, caught in the chaos. The room was a whirlwind of noise. Screams, shouts, and chaos swirled together like a relentless storm. "Emma," Adam's voice cut through the clamor, pulling her back from the brink of confusion. "We have to go, now." "No," she shouted, feeling the pull of her mother's gaze. "Wait, I need to know." But the words barely left her mouth when the lights flickered back on, revealing a terrifying scene. Shadows deepened. Laughter echoed through the café, shrouded in darkness just a moment before. The figures approaching were not silent echoes of chaos. They were intent and vile, their focus on her. Emma squinted, trying to make out their faces. "Who are you?" But the question fell flat. With a swift motion, the leader stepped forward, a smirk plastered on his face. How quaint. The lost girl finally returns to the fold. The voice was smooth, but laced with malice. Emma felt a chill creep down her spine. Her heart raced. "What do you want?" She tried to sound strong, but a tremble crept into her voice. The man shrugged, leaning casually against a table, the chaos around him seemingly nothing more than a distraction. Oh, just the truth. You hold the key, Emma, and the sooner you realize what you're connected to, the better it will be for everyone. Just then, Khaled's eyes darted between the newcomers and Emma. You shouldn't be here. He took a step back, tension radiating from him. Confusion replaced anger, leaving vulnerable space around them. This isn't what, Khaled? The leader interrupted sharply. A family reunion? How adorable. I guess you've forgotten family ties run deeper than blood. What does that mean? Emma felt the weight of every word as panic surged through her. Without warning, the leader stepped closer. You see, it's not just about the box. It's about the lineage. Your lineage, Emma. You're part of something bigger. Suddenly, in a quick burst of motion, Adam lunged forward, ready to protect her. But the leader laughed, a chilling sound that echoed against the cafe walls. Oh, you really shouldn't have done that. He flicked his wrist, and chaos erupted again. The box that Emma's mother had dropped struck the floor, and the light it emitted grew more intense, casting everyone in stark relief. Shadows morphed, writhing closer, and everyone froze for a moment, caught off guard. Then, with a deafening crack, the box exploded outward, scattering shards of light, and everything turned upside down. Emma shielded her eyes, barely catching the sight of her mother's anguished scream, as darkness enveloped the cafe. As Emma's vision recalibrated, everything changed. Her mother, her face twisted in pain, was gone, vanishing in the blink of an eye, swallowed by the swirling shadows emerging from the remnants of the box. No, Emma's scream pierced the air, raw and desperate. Mom! But it was too late. In the chaos, her mother had vanished. The leader smirked in satisfaction, gloating over their loss. Emma's heart raced, shock stealing her breath. Khaled's face drained of color. This can't happen. We need to get her back. No time. The leader's voice rang out. She's lost now, and you, he directed at Emma. You'll need to make a choice. Stay here and take your chances with the chaos, or come with us and learn about your true self. Emma felt the ground shift beneath her. What are you talking about? She couldn't process this tidal wave of revelation. Everything she thought she knew was unraveling, threads pulling apart rapidly. Your mother is part of a war that you can't begin to comprehend, he said, eyes glinting with excitement. But you can choose to take her place in this legacy, or you can join the rest in oblivion. A shudder ran through her. The stakes had never felt this high. Adam had her back, his expression fierce, but she was aware of the uncertainty spinning around her. Would she follow this twisted path, or could she save her mother? And what if her mother was hiding secrets darker than she could ever imagine? Time is ticking, Emma, the leader taunted, stepping back as sirens blared outside. What will it be? Choose wisely. The fate of your family hangs in the balance. Emma stood at the edge, her heart racing, the world swirling in uncertainty. One choice could alter everything. Would she unveil the truth or run into the darkness? The answer felt just beyond her reach, and the weight of the unknown pressed down as everything around her blurred with urgency. Emma felt the tension strangling the air, every heartbeat echoing like a ticking clock. The reality of the situation bore down on her, the looming threat, her mother gone, and secrets her heart could barely grasp. I don't know what to do, she shouted, hands trembling at her sides. The leader's smirk seemed to tighten around their fate. Choose, Emma. Are you going to embrace your heritage and come with us? Or stay here, lost in the shadows of your past? Panic coursed through her veins. Adam stepped closer, his eyes fierce with determination. Whatever you choose, I'm by your side, but we don't have time. His voice was low, filled with urgency. Emma wrestled with the decision, the shadows whispering threats in her ears. Her past was a fog, but one image pierced through, her mother's desperate eyes. I want to find her, she cried, a surge of courage flooding her. The leader laughed, cruel and mocking. She's gone, Emma. You need to accept that. No, Emma shot back, heart racing. You don't know my mother. I refuse to lose her.
The weight of her words surged through the chaos, snaking toward hope.
Then a sharp gasp broke through the chaos,
And Lila stepped forward, voice trembling but clear.
Emma, hold on, if it has to be. Done, we can use the box. It's a key. Your mother hid something powerful there. The truth she always wanted you to know. The air crackled, tension snapping like a taut line. What do you mean? Emma's eyes flashed with newfound determination. The crest, Emma. It connects you to everything. The legacy, the protection, maybe even your mother. Lila reached into the shadows, retrieving a piece of the shattered box that glowed faintly. You have to unlock it. The leader's amusement faded, replaced by cold fury. You can't. But Emma didn't wait to hear it. Fear gave way to clarity. She stepped forward, grabbing Lila's hand and the piece of the box as voices around them faded. She focused on the remnants, her heartbeat thundering in her ears like war drums. This is my choice. With a deep breath, she raised the piece high. I am Emma Dawson. I will honor my family. I will reclaim my truth. Light began to swirl around her as the symbol pulsed powerfully, overwhelming the encroaching darkness. A flash erupted, illuminating the café, drowning out the menacing laughter. The glow expanded, washing over the crowd, and revealing the leader's shock. They recoiled, shadows receding like a tide, leaving vulnerability exposed. Then, in a heartbeat, the light shifted. The vision of her mother, radiant and fierce, appeared beside her. Emma, you've done it. Her mother's voice was a beacon, rich with warmth and love. You are stronger than you know. Tears filled Emma's eyes, joy and grief intertwining. Mom. She reached out, eager yet uncertain. You must face your path, her mother urged, pride filling her gaze. You hold our legacy, dear. Protect it. As the light engulfed them, a strong feeling washed over Emma, resolve, hope, and the promise of new beginnings. The shadows of doubt faded, leaving space for light, and the men, Caled included, vanished with gasps, defeated by a force they had taken for granted. Everything shifted. The café transformed, the atmosphere lighter, and whispers of relief rippled through the patrons. Adam's hand found hers, squeezing tightly, as Lila nodded, a smile breaking across her face. We'll find your mother, Emma, Adam promised, eyes fierce. You're not alone. The connection between them felt like a lifeline, threading through the chaos of the unknown. Emma's heart swelled as they made their way to the door, together, ready to embrace a future with newfound purpose. Wait, Amir called, stepping alongside them. We need to prepare for what's next. This fight isn't over. Emma turned back, determination glimmering in her eyes. It's just the beginning. And with that, they stepped into the world outside the café, unknowable, yet open and full of possibilities. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. Now, this is your moment. Don't wait even one more second. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss any of our next exclusive stories. You have to smash that like button right now to feed the algorithm, and flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories about this wild ending. Share this video with at least 5 friends who have to see how this all wraps up. This is the moment to show your support. Don't let this opportunity pass you by.